Arjun was a man everyone respected, sharp-minded, well-spoken, always correct. At home, at work, in every discussion, he had to be the one who ended it with facts, logic, and a tone that said, "I told you so." His wife Mira often smiled and stayed quiet, even when she disagreed. His teenage son Rohan had stopped arguing long ago. He'd simply say, "You're right, Dad," and walk away. Arjun believed that being right was everything. It made him feel powerful, confident, respected. But what he didn't realize was that his victories in words were slowly turning into losses in love. One evening, Arjun came home from work, frustrated after a long meeting. Mira had prepared his favorite meal, but something small went wrong. The food was a little cold. He frowned. "Mira, how many times do I have to say it? You should serve it fresh." Mira softly replied, "I tried, Arjun." "You were late, excuses again." Arjun cut her off, his voice sharp. "It's not about being late, it's about doing things properly. Why can't you ever listen?" Silence filled the room. Mira looked down, her hands trembling slightly, while Rohan quietly pushed his plate away. No one spoke for the rest of dinner. Later that night, Mira sat by the window, looking out into the darkness. "Arjun," she said gently, "do you ever think that being right all the time doesn't always make things right?" He sighed. "Mira, truth is truth. I can't just pretend to be wrong." She nodded slowly. "But sometimes, the truth can wait. People can't." Arjun didn't understand her words that night. But soon, he would. The next morning, Arjun left early for work. As he was driving, his phone buzzed. It was a message from Rohan. "Dad, can you come to my school's debate competition today? It's at 11. I'd love if you could be there." Arjun looked at the clock. He had a meeting at the same time, an important one with clients. Without a second thought, he replied, "I can't. I have work. Focus on doing your best." Rohan simply sent a thumbs up emoji. Hours later, after the meeting ended, Arjun received another message. This one wasn't from Rohan, it was from Mira. It said, "Rohan fainted after his debate. He's in the hospital." Arjun's world stopped. He rushed to the hospital, his heart pounding. When he arrived, he saw his son lying on the bed, weak but conscious. Mira was sitting beside him, her eyes red from crying. "Doctor said it's stress and exhaustion," Mira said quietly. "He was so nervous and disappointed when he didn't see you there. He kept saying, if Dad was here, maybe I'd have done better." Arjun sat down, tears filling his eyes. For the first time in years, he couldn't find any words. His son turned to him weakly and whispered, "Dad, did I do okay?" Arjun held his hand tightly. "You did amazing, Rohan. I'm sorry I wasn't there." Rohan smiled faintly. "It's okay, Dad. You're always right." That sentence, simple, innocent, hit Arjun like a blade. He realized in that moment that his son didn't see him as loving or supportive, only as someone who had to win. Days passed. Rohan recovered, but the guilt didn't leave Arjun. He started observing how often he corrected others, at home, at work, even strangers. He began to see the loneliness behind his rightness. One Sunday evening, Arjun walked into the kitchen where Mira was cooking. "Mira," he said softly, "can I help you?" She looked surprised. "Help me? Since when do you ask that?" He smiled faintly. "Since I realized I'd rather be wise than right." She paused, unsure if he was joking. But then she saw the sincerity in his eyes, something she hadn't seen in a long time. From that day, Arjun began to change. When disagreements came, he listened first. When Rohan made mistakes, he guided instead of scolding. When Mira forgot something, he smiled instead of sighing. One night, as the family sat together after dinner, Rohan laughed and said, "Dad, you've changed. You don't correct me even when I say something wrong." Arjun chuckled. Maybe because sometimes being right isn't as important as being kind. Mira reached out and gently placed her hand on his. "That's wisdom, Arjun." He nodded. "It took me a lifetime to understand. Being right feeds your ego, but being wise feeds your relationships." And that's the lesson, my friend. Sometimes we chase victory in words and lose peace in hearts. Sometimes we choose to be right and forget to be kind. So before you speak next time, pause and ask yourself, do you want to be right, or do you want to be wise? Because wisdom heals, and that's what this world needs more than ever.